Bonjour, my crazy comrades. Of course, we're not crazy. Anyway, welcome back to Anxiety Av, and I am a little behind my upload schedule, so you guys are gonna be seeing a bunch of videos going up back to back in the next probably few days. Firstly of all, I have to give some shout outs to my peoples, okay? All right. Alright, so first shout out is to my homegirl or Fate. Go follow her on Instagram and her YouTube channel. She's got some really unconventional money making tips for ladies and gentlemen if they are out of the box thinkers who are willing to try something new, try something that's, I guess it's not the first thing that you would think of, but it's a way for you to be your own boss, kind of. And if you're like a fearless person who's trying to find something new and different to try out, go check out her channel. She gives really good tips on how you can get started doing that. And also shout out to her because she's a very smart thinker. I like the way she thinks. And we've been having some conversations over the past few weeks since I've discovered her channel. And just I love having conversations with people who are not afraid to challenge convention and then make it work. You know what I'm saying? So I like that about her, and that's why I need to give you a shout out. And then I also want to give a shout out to my homegirl Diane upstairs. Hi Diane. We just recently started up a conversation over the past few weeks, kind of because of her job, and Diane is I don't know, she has a lot in common with me, but I feel, you ever run into those people where under normal circumstances it seems like you wouldn't have a reason to talk to them, or they're not the usual people you would consider part of your friend circles, but just on the surface, you know what I'm saying, but for whatever reason, maybe your job, maybe your church, or some reason why you guys end up communicating, and then you find out you have so much in common with that person. You're like, how are you not in my life? That's kind of how I feel about Diane. So shout out to Diane, and shout out to my cousin Bryant, who is working on a book that I really am excited for him to finish. And the book that he's working on is along the lines of talking about childhood traumas, kind of like this channel is for me. And this is my way of putting my unstructured thoughts out there so I can have something to reflect on, and maybe for other people to have discussions and learn from this stuff. And I feel like that's what Bryant's book is going to do for so many people. I read a tiny little excerpt, you guys, a tiny little excerpt, and just from the little bit that I read, I was just so excited to hear the rest of the story, because it's a hard story to tell. And I feel like even though you run into opposition, you should still tell your story. And if people have a problem with it, that's more a reflection on them and their narrow-mindedness, rather than feeling for the people who have gone through these traumas and are trying to put their lives together afterwards. Because there's no, you can't sign up for a program that teaches you how to be unbroken. That's not a thing. It should be. Should that be a thing? We should make that a thing. So shout out to my cousin Bryant for that. And then also shout out to my other cousin Aurelia, aka Daffodil, who I have recently been reconnecting with. And she's actually the same age as me, but she's our cousin that was the long lost sister, kind of, because she wasn't raised around the majority portion of this side of our family that we're related on. And we kind of just lost her over the years. And then I feel I kind of found her again, kind of got her back, sort of, because we've been communicating on social media. And I've learned so much about her that I didn't know in the 30-something years that we have been related to each other, that I knew she existed, And her story is so similar to mine too. So I really love that I've been able to connect with people, and I feel like this channel has made that more possible for me. And I'm glad that I started it and I didn't keep pushing it back like I was. I've been thinking about this channel for so long and just been putting it on the back burner because I felt like I didn't want to abandon Broken Dolly TV to focus on this. And I just had to come to the conclusion, if I don't do this, I'm never going to start. So that's why this is here, and I'm not trying to neglect my other channel to do this. I'm trying to find a balance between the two so that I can run both channels. But anyways, so thank you to you guys, and for your support and for being open and communicating with me. I really do appreciate it, even though I probably don't vocalize that as much as I should. Okay, so today I wanted to talk about an autism related topic, and you'll find other videos in this playlist, which is my autism talk playlist, where I just talk about all kinds of things that are autism related and Asperger's related. I self-identify as an Aspie. I have been diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, but because the specialist who diagnosed me expressly said to me, if I could give you the Asperger's diagnosis, I would, but because everything has been thrown into this umbrella category, I have no choice but to say autism spectrum disorder. So that's how I ended up with my diagnosis, but I myself identify as Aspie. So I just want to make that clear, because for some people there's a huge difference and distinction, and we'll talk about that too in upcoming videos. But everything I have in this playlist is just, for the whole general topic of autism and Asperger's disorder together. So you'll hear me kind of interchanging terms a lot, but that's just for convenience sake and not because I don't know that there's a difference. I do know that there is a difference. Okay, today the topic is stimming. What is stimming? And some examples of things that I do that I consider stimming behavior, and explaining what it is and why we do this. So stimming is just the short term for self-stimulation, which is something that most people that have autism do. And so when you see people doing this stuff, right away you may or may not know that that's what they're doing. But what it is people that have autism sometimes suffer from sensory processing disorders, and they have a hard time coping with outside stimulus that can become very overwhelming to them. So when we have a sensory overload, which is too many things that are stimulating our senses, but not in a positive way, it becomes so distracting that you can't function, you can't concentrate, you can't focus, you can't do anything. That kind of environment can get really distracting and debilitating when you are in school, when you are at work, when you are in functions that require you to interact with other human beings. It can be really difficult for you to compose yourself so that you can do that unless you stim, unless you do things that are self-stimulating behaviors to help you to cope and be less distracted. So that's when you probably see people who have Asperger's and autism doing this more often. But also some of it is, it's in our head. It's not people that's distracting us. It's not necessarily sensory overload. It's just we might have anxiety or some kind of, we're just in a nervous state. So in order to calm ourselves down, we will stim. And sometimes you don't even know you're doing it. You just do it out of habit because it relaxes you, or at least makes you feel like you're gonna be relaxed if you do it enough. I hope that's a good summary of what I'm trying to say. And of course, y'all can Google this if what I'm explaining sounds confusing, or talk to me in the comments. If some of you guys who have experienced this or know people that do this have a different way of explaining it, go ahead in the comments and drop me your definition or your explanation of what stimming is. But that's the best way I know how to put it. So examples of stimming for me, I have a little list. That's messed up that I had to make a list, because I was like, I don't stim that much. And then I thought about it and I was like, wow, I do a lot of different things. And I've been doing them since childhood that are stimming behaviors that I didn't realize was stimming. Okay, and sometimes it's new things that I'll try just to see if it works for me. And it will for short periods of time. And then after a while, it's I'll become desensitized to it almost, so it won't work anymore and I have to shift to a different thing. But anyway, so for me, this is something that I've been doing since I don't even remember how long ago. I don't have a memory of not doing this. It sounds so silly, but this is the biggest thing that I do that I've never been able to stop myself from doing. I cannot stop doing it. I don't know why. It's what I call kicking people at night, but that's not exactly a good description of what I'm doing. Okay, oh my god. Deetlihi, I'm so sorry that I put you through having to deal with me doing this for like most of our childhood, but I can't help it. I cannot stop doing it. So, okay, this is what I do. I'll lay in bed, and then as I'm trying to get to sleep, I will, if someone is laying next to me, and it has to be like a person who's kind of heavy set or like has a lot of meat on their bones. Like skinny people, like my son, I can't do this with them. So it has to be somebody with some weight, right? Who has like thick thighs or like a big butt or like some kind of meat on their body. And when I lay next to them in the bed, I don't know why. I have to dig my toes into their body and like wriggle my feet around or like my toes, like wriggle them around underneath their body weight. And I get the sensation of all the weight like just constricting around my limbs, around my feet and my toes. And the more I like dig into them, the better it feels. I don't know why. Like, I don't know why this sensation is so relaxing to me, but it is. And it's horrible that it only works when I'm like hurting someone while I do that. I don't want to hurt them. I feel so bad when I like see them like wince in pain because my toes are digging into their skin. Yo, I've never even said this out loud to anyone. Like, this is like something that you would only know about me if you've been in a situation where we slept next to each other. Like, and if you're thinking like, I slept in a bed with her before and she didn't do it to me, that means you're clearly at an undesirable body weight for me to find satisfaction in doing this to you. So, because it only works if you're kind of heavy set, you know? So growing up, like my sister was the chunky one, the chubby one, and I was like the bone skinny one. And for whatever reason, oh my God, I used to do this to my sister constantly all night long. I would just dig my feet into her, and it felt amazing. It feels so great to do. And like sometimes I can simulate that feeling by using lots of blankets, and I'll stuff the blankets in between the mattress and the wall, and then so there's some cushion there, and then try to like dig my foot into the wall, like the space between the wall and the mattress. It kind of works, but it's just not the same as when you dig your toes under an actual human being. Oh my God, I'm laughing, cracking up while I'm saying this because it sounds so ridiculous, but like, this is real. I even tried to Google it to see, like, is this a condition that some people have? Is it not? Is it just me? I don't know. I've never met anybody who has this issue, except that my grandfather on my mom's side, he used to pinch us with his toes when we were little. If you laid down next to him, he would pinch you with his toes. And I don't know if that was like a form of him doing the same thing that I was doing. Maybe that's where I got it from. I don't know. I have a memory of my grandfather digging his toes into our legs and stuff while we were laying down and like pinching us with his toes. And he would laugh and crack up over it when he would see us like uncomfortable or whatever. I don't know if any of my other cousins remember him doing this. You guys, if you watch this, did 할아버지 used to like 발로 꼬집었어? That's what happened to me. If you have a memory of this, 할아버지가 발가락으로 우리를 막 꼬집었었어. If you have a memory of this, then tell me, because I want to know. Like, am I crazy? I don't know. I feel like I have the Mandela effect sometimes when I think about things that happened to me in my childhood. Okay, like it was just me. I remember it this way, and it cannot possibly have been a real memory. Then I'll talk to other people in my family. They'll be like, no, I remember that. And I'll be like, oh, so it wasn't just me? But anyway, so this is one of those things of kicking people. That is my thing, but I only do it at night, only when I'm trying to get to sleep, and only to people who have enough body weight so that I can feel the pressure of their weight on my foot. Another thing I do a lot is I crack my knuckles. I mean everything. I crack everything, not just this. I do this part of my knuckle here, this like little part of my fingers. I'll crack that, both sides. My elbow, I'll go like that. I'll like, see, like I'll just raise my arm like that really fast and crack my elbow. I'll do my jaw. Can you hear it? I don't know. it works better on this side. If I try to do it on this side, sometimes I'll pop it wrong and my whole jaw will burn with pain because it hurts so bad when you do it the wrong way. So I don't normally try to do it on this side because it doesn't work the same way. But on this side, it works every time I try it. Can you hear that? And then I'll do my neck, like rotate it all different ways. I will do my, what else do I do? My neck. And then, my back. I'll like stretch my back all different ways and it'll crack. I can crack my knees. I can crack my toes. I can crack my ankles, which I do when I lay down. A lot of the stimming behavior, I do most of it when I'm trying to get to sleep. I have really bad insomnia that I've had since as far back as I can remember. And the cracking the knuckles thing I started doing when I was in foster care. One of my foster sisters used to crack her knuckles all the time. And I liked the sound of the cracking for some reason. I don't know, just the joints like cracking. That sound eases me, but it only lasts during the second that I can hear it. And cracking knuckles is not something you can do over and over and over with the same knuckles, like the same part of your body. So that's why I figured out, I can crack other parts of my body. And that's what I will do to fill in the fact that I can't do it to my hands all the time. My mom used to tell me that I'm going to get arthritis and I'm going to ruin my joints by doing it. And she would hate it when I would do it and like flip out and tell me not to because she didn't like the sound. But I think it had more to do with her irritation over the sound rather than she thought I was really going to get arthritis. And I'm a piano player. So that used to concern me. But then as I got older, I was like, that's an old wives' tale. It's not true. Like, nothing's going to happen to you because you crack your knuckles too much. So I just stopped even worrying about the consequences of doing it. And I just do it whenever I want to. Which is really like all the time. Like all day long, all the time I'm cracking my knuckles. But all the different parts of my body, I get into that when I'm like trying to lay down and go to sleep. I feel so bad for people who have to like sleep next to me because I must be a nightmare to sleep next to. Like, I'm all over the place in the bed. Like, I will start on one end and end up on the other end of the bed, completely, like, upside down by the time morning comes around, if I even got to sleep at all. So, that's horrible. But I've been doing it for years, and I can't stop. Oh my God, this one, I guess it's kind of gross if you think about it, but it's peeling skin, like peeling dead skin. I have this crazy obsession with removing dead skin from my body, especially my lips. You'll see sometimes even on camera, like right now you can't tell because I have on lip gloss, but if it was all gone, you can see there's like discolorations in my lip. See how this side is a little bit more pink? Yeah, I know. It looks like it's the light. But that's because this part is red. It's like raw because I peeled the skin off. And sometimes it'll bleed. The layer of skin that I remove will like cause my lips to bleed. So, but the thing about lip skin is that for whatever reason, it regenerates fairly quickly. Like you could peel a layer of skin off your lips and then that same day it'll grow back. How would I know this? I know it because I do it all the time. So my husband has to constantly remind me not to remove the lips from my skin because I'll just be doing it and not thinking about it. I'll be watching TV or I'll be like hearing something that's distressing to me or kind of like nerve-wracking to me. Like when I think about finances, I'm like in like anxiety mode, right? So I'll be peeling my skin off. Like this is the kind of thing that I do to calm myself because I don't really know what else to do to calm myself down. And it soothes me very temporarily. So these days, it's mostly on my lips. But as I was growing, when I was a kid, I was doing this to different parts of my body other than just my lips. For example, the biggest thing for me was like my fingertips right under my nails. I would like bite them with my teeth and remove the skin off the tip of my fingers. And then sometimes it would be too much skin. So of course they would bleed or they would be like really like sensitive. You know, if I touch something that would irritate it because the skin is open, it would burn. It would like sting and be really painful. But I can't stop doing it, even though I know that that's not good for me to do, you know? So I would bite the skin off of my fingertips. And then another thing I would do is, like, you know, when your skin on your feet get really dry, it will create little bubbles of dead skin. And if I find patches like that on my foot or my toes, I would rip them off. I would like sit there and just peel and peel and peel as much as I could until I couldn't peel anymore. And usually I would stop if a part of my foot was bleeding. Like, sometimes it would be so bad I'm limping because I can't walk on my foot correctly, because I would peel so much of the skin off that it was causing bloodiness, you know. And skin stretches. So once you peel that skin off that's dry at the time when you peel it off, sometimes when that spot is like bare now, it's open, like the skin around it will try to constrict and close it up almost. So it gets really tight, like your skin is stretching itself, and it feels really uncomfortable and painful, and I have a low pain threshold. I don't know why I do this, but I was doing this for years as a kid, and then as I got older, I stopped like peeling skin off my toes, but also I take better care of my body than I did back then. So I don't have these like dry patches of skin to even mess with. But if I saw it, I probably would still pick at it. It's horrible. That's a horrible habit to have, but yeah, that's something that I've been doing for years. And then another thing I used to do a lot is bite my nails, which I've actually completely stopped doing in a habitual way. I still bite my nails when they get about this length, but the reason why I bite them is not as a nervous habit. Now I bite them because my fingernails are very thin by nature. So when they get to a certain length, they'll start to crack and rip and break off on their own. And I can never seem to grow them any longer than this. So once I get to this length, I'll just be like, yeah, I gotta bite it off, because if I don't, then they're going to fall off and break off. So it'll be my excuse to continue biting my nails. I can just cut them off with the nail clippers, but it's just more like it satisfies my need to stim if I bite them off. So that's my way of like controlling my nail biting habit. But it was really bad to the point where I will bite my nails down so bad that the sides, the corners used to rip and bleed. And of course, while I'm doing this, I'm also biting off the skin at the tip of my fingertips that I was telling you guys about earlier. So the whole combination was just pain. Like, it was not good for me. And that is a bad habit that I stopped doing by using nail polish to cover up my nails. And then I would not want to bite my nails because I didn't want the nail polish to get messed up, and I didn't want them to chip into my mouth. The need to do it didn't go anywhere. It's still there, and I feel like I compensate by doing other stimming behavior to make up for the fact that I don't bite my nails anymore. For example, this last thing that I'm going to mention, which is a newer habit that I picked up, and this has a lot to do with scent. My sense of smell is really, really sensitive, like really really strong, I guess. Like, I can smell things that other people can't smell. Like sweat on a person, I can pinpoint the smell. I know who it's coming off of. Even if the person doesn't look sweaty, like, I just know what your smell is. You know what I'm saying? So it's very distracting when I'm around other people. But so what I do to counter that is I'll carry around things that I like to sniff to make myself relax and not be overwhelmed with all the things going on around me. That is really, really distracting. And I used to have a job in retail where I worked for a department store. So constantly people kept coming up to me, talking to me, asking me questions that I would be unprepared for, because I'm in the middle of a task. I'm doing something, or I'm trying to train someone, or I'm talking to somebody, and like my train of thought is somewhere else. So when people would come and interrupt me and start talking to me, it would take me a minute to register, what are you even talking about? Like, I don't even know what you're saying to me right now. It sounds like gibberish. Sound like goddamn gibberish. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. So I assume, I'm imagining like people who are like high and then they're trying to like pay attention to something. They can't focus on what they know. Your mouth is moving, sound is coming out of it. I'm supposed to know what you're talking about, but it's not registering. I can't comprehend. That's how I would feel at this job. So the distraction was completely overwhelming, and it was interfering with my ability to work. And I had to like carry around little, like sometimes I would have those essential oils. My favorite one is grapefruit scent, and I would just sniff it, or I would take it out and like rub it on my hands and like wave it around my face so I could smell it, and it would calm me down. And then sometimes, you know, those cubes that you can burn, they're wax cubes and they're scented. They're really pungent, and even before you burn them, you can smell them. So I would carry around the cubes with me in my pocket and like whip them out and sniff them so that I could calm myself down to get through a work shift. Yes. That sounds ridiculous. And like when I'm hearing myself say this stuff, you know, this is why I say a lot of times with Asperger's and autism, it's an invisible disability, because a lot of it's in our own heads and we don't know how to express it to other people. But also when we do express it to other people, it doesn't sound that serious to them. They're like, why don't you just ignore it? Why do you let that stuff bother you? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not a solution. Like, I can't help it. I don't know why it bothers me. I don't want it to bother me. I'm trying to ignore it, but I cannot do that. And that distraction will be so heavy on you that you can't concentrate on what you're supposed to be doing. The task you have right now in front of you, you cannot concentrate. Things like this, making videos for YouTube, content creation, and things like this, I can do these kinds of things with less distraction because my environment at home is so controlled. I mean, really controlled. My entire household, all of my family members know that there are certain things that I cannot stand and I cannot deal with. I cannot focus. So they really go out of their way to try to accommodate the environment that we're in when we're at home, so as to not cause me distractions and these kinds of moments when I have to super stim to get myself through it. And that's a blessing, but everybody don't got it like that. I'm aware. And so over time, you kind of have to create the environment for yourself so that you can decompress from the world around you when you come back inside your own space, which is excellent for people who are able to work at home. But in my situation, that's not the case, at least not yet. So as I'm trying to figure out ways that I can work from home, you know, these are challenges that I run into when I have to go out and go work someplace outside where I have to deal with their environment, which I cannot control. And I have to accommodate them instead of the other way around. And even though in America we have ADA regulations that give certain rights to people who have disabilities to be able to function and be accommodated at their jobs, that's easier said than done in real life, because the process of actually getting that is so painstaking and long-winded and tiring that most people who have these disabilities, we don't even have the patience to go through the process to get that. You don't, unless somebody helps you, you know? So a lot of people are just going without these things even though they need it. I used to run into people that needed accommodations at work and like would just literally be in pain and turmoil dealing with whatever discomfort they were going through because they didn't want to get fired and they didn't want to cause problems at their job. And that cost me a job in the past, trying to get accommodated. So it's like at a certain point you just kind of give up, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, but so don't be judgy when you run into these people who you're hearing them complain about certain things going on in their life that you're like, well, why don't you just go fix it? Why don't you just go apply for this or apply for that? Or why don't you just go get these, you know, benefits? Just go get some help. Easier said than done. That's not the case unless you are somebody who is an advocate so that can help those people to gain access to those things. Don't be so fast to judge them, because it's not as simple as it might seem like it is on face value when you haven't done that and gone through it yourself, you know? Anyway, that's all I want to talk about in this video today is some examples of my stimming behavior. And I just wanted to throw them out there, not because I'm like, let's just expose Gypsy. Like, bruh, like some of this stuff I'm laughing at it myself because it sounds so ridiculous. And I didn't do any of those things. Like a lot of them I don't do in front of people, you know what I'm saying? So if you weren't around me all the time, 24 hours a day, you wouldn't even know that I have some of these issues. Even people that think they know me very well. I know you guys are like listening to this going, really? You really do that? I've never seen you do that. But it's so much stuff that I do, so much stuff going on in my mind that if I said it out loud, you'd just be like, how can you function during your day? Like, how can you think? How can you concentrate? How can you do anything with all this stuff going on? I don't freaking know. Like, I really don't know. I feel like my IQ is part of the reason why I'm able to function at any level around other people, because if I wasn't as smart as I am to kind of force myself to be innovative and try to find ways to cope and blend in, dear Lord, ain't no specialist helping me, because I only got diagnosed after I was already in my 30s. So I already existed for 30 something years with these conditions and hiding them very well, or just dealing with it and like making it work, you know. But it's so exhausting, you guys, so freaking exhausting. So anyway, I hope this video helps somebody. I hope I didn't say anyway way too many times. I don't know until I go back and edit. And then I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Okay. And another shout out, I'll do one more shout out. Okay. Shout out my homegirl Jackie. Oh, you know who you is. You know who you is. My BFF, she is Filipina, and she actually gave me this pretty pink blouse that I would never have thought to purchase because it's not my normal style, but my husband really likes it. He thinks I look cute in it, you know what I'm saying? Bro, Jackie's so tiny. She's like this little petite little Filipina lady. Let me see if I can put up a picture of her up here so you guys can see what I was talking about. She's so tiny, and she was like, yo, you want this shirt because it don't fit me right? And I was like, girl, I ain't gonna fit in your shirt. She was like, just try it. That's what I love about Jackie. She has a just try it attitude about life in general, and that is inspirational to me. And like, I'm learning from her to just try things, you know. I feel like I'm already kind of brave when it comes to doing new things, but I don't know, just that extra oomph that you need, that extra push that you need to just do it. Like, I don't have that for myself. I'll just think about it. I'll be like, well, I want to try that someday. And then I'll just put it in the back burner. Jackie is my friend that like motivates me to just do it. You know what I'm saying? Just go all the way and try it. So that's what I love about Jackie, and I'll probably give her another shout out on another video. Okay, well, all right, that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and I hope you guys will follow me on Instagram and subscribe here on YouTube. All right, ciao.